Don't overlook your pennies. Some from 1961, 1979, and even 2001 can be worth far more than 1 cent if they have rare errors or are in top condition. Check your pocket change. You might be holding hidden value. The US 1961 1-cent penny is one of those coins that at first glance seems like any ordinary Lincoln cent. Millions of these coins were struck. They were passed from hand to hand in everyday purchases, and for decades they sat in pockets, purses, and change jars without much thought. Yet hidden among these common coins are rare and extraordinary examples that today can sell for staggering amounts, with certain specimens bringing between $64,000 and $142,500 at auction. This incredible leap in value shows why collectors continue to obsess over coins that most people would overlook and why the 1961 penny holds a special place in the world of numismatics. The story of the 1961 penny begins with its design. Like every Lincoln cent minted since 1909, it features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner. His design had become so iconic by 1961 that it was immediately recognized as a national symbol. Lincoln's face, looking solemn and dignified, was a reminder of American values and unity. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial had not yet been introduced. That would come in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1961, Americans were only just becoming accustomed to seeing the memorial instead of the original wheat ears that had adorned the reverse for 50 years. This change added fresh interest for collectors, who often looked for the newest designs or the earliest years of a series to add to their sets. The 1961 cent was struck in huge numbers, billions at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia Mint produced cents without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint marked its coins with a small d under the date. With such high production, most 1961 cents are extremely common in circulated grades. People spent them freely, tossed them into piggy banks, and used them for generations in everyday commerce. On the surface, this would suggest that the 1961 penny has little value beyond 1 cent. But as is so often the case in numismatics, the real story is hidden in the details. Collectors are not only interested in sheer rarity, they are also fascinated by condition, errors, and varieties. And the 1961 penny provides all three in a way that makes certain examples priceless. First, let's talk about condition. Finding a 1961 cent in pristine, uncirculated condition is not easy. While the mint struck billions of them, most went directly into circulation where they quickly picked up nicks, scratches, and wear. Over time, copper coins are especially vulnerable to discoloration, spots, and corrosion. To locate a 1961 penny that has survived untouched for over 60 years, still blazing with original mint red luster, is a challenge. Coins in such high grades can bring impressive premiums. When graded by services like PCGS or NGC at the top levels, MS67 or MS68 red, they can become treasures. Then there are the varieties and errors. The Denver Mint in particular produced some fascinating double die varieties in 1961. Doubling can be seen on the date, the mint mark, or even on the inscriptions like Liberty and In God We Trust. These double die coins are highly collectible because they are the result of mistakes in the die-making process, and each variety tells a unique story about how the mint operated during that era. Some 1961 double dies are dramatic enough to be seen without magnification, and those pieces can command serious premiums. Similarly, repunched mint marks, where the D mint mark was punched into the die more than once, slightly misaligned, are sought after by specialists. These varieties often go unnoticed by the average person but can transform a seemingly ordinary cent into something extraordinary. But the real prize among 1961 pennies lies in those rare high-grade examples and spectacular errors that have stunned collectors at auction. It is here where the prices leap from a few dollars to tens of thousands. For example, full red 1961 Lincoln cents graded at the highest levels are so rare that they have brought incredible prices, even surpassing $10,000. Add in dramatic mint errors like off-center strikes, multiple strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet, and the value climbs even higher. Some of these rarest examples, preserved in stunning condition, have sold in that jaw-dropping range of $64,000 to $142,500. Think about that for a moment. A coin that was originally worth just 1 cent, something so common it could have been lost in a couch cushion or used to buy a gumball, now valued at over $100,000. That transformation is what fuels the excitement of coin collecting. It's not just about the monetary gain. It's about the thrill of discovery, the idea that hidden treasures still exist in the most unexpected places. Part of what makes the 1961 penny so special is timing. The early 1960s were a fascinating period in U.S. coinage. The Lincoln Memorial reverse was still relatively new, and collectors were paying close attention to each year's production, looking for anything unusual. At the same time, the mint was under pressure to produce massive numbers of coins to keep up with the booming post-war economy. With so many coins being struck so quickly, errors were more likely to occur, and these errors are precisely what collectors today value most. Another factor is the nature of copper itself. Unlike silver or nickel, copper coins are notoriously difficult to preserve in pristine condition. They are more prone to spotting, fading, and toning. This means that a 1961 cent with full original red luster is a true survivor. The combination of rarity, preservation, and history makes such coins highly desirable, and that demand drives up prices dramatically. Auction results for the 1961 penny reflect this growing appreciation. Collectors have watched in awe as certain examples have shattered expectations, selling for sums that rival much older and rarer coins. These sales remind the numismatic community that age alone does not determine value. Sometimes, it's the combination of condition, error, and collector demand that creates the biggest surprises. A 1961 cent in an ordinary grade might only be worth a penny, but in the right circumstances, it transforms into a coin worth between $64,000 and $142,500. This coin also teaches an important lesson for collectors and enthusiasts. Never overlook the small details. The date, the mint mark, the luster, the strike. All of these elements can make or break a coin's value. Many great numismatic discoveries have been made by people carefully examining coins others ignored. That's part of the magic of coin collecting. A jar of old pennies in the attic or a roll of cents picked up from the bank could hold one of these rare treasures. The idea that anyone could stumble upon such a find adds an element of adventure to the hobby. The Lincoln Cent series itself is one of the most collected coin series in the world. It's often the starting point for young collectors because pennies are so accessible. Yet, even within this common series, there are remarkable rarities, and the 1961 cent proves that point. It bridges the gap between everyday change and elite collector's item, showing that treasures can still be found where least expected. Looking closely at the 1961 penny also connects us to history. Abraham Lincoln, enshrined on the obverse, represents America's enduring ideals of freedom and unity. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, newly introduced just 2 years earlier, symbolizes not only Lincoln's legacy but also the nation's respect for its history during a time of great change. By holding a 1961 penny, you're not just holding a piece of metal. You're holding a tangible link to the past, to a time when coins were part of daily life in ways they aren't today. For those lucky enough to own one of the rarest examples, the 1961 penny is more than a collectible. It's a treasure. Its value of $64,000 to $142,500 at auction reflects not just rarity, but also the passion of collectors who recognize what makes these coins extraordinary. And for everyone else, it's a reminder to keep looking closely at the coins in their collection or even in their pocket change. Because sometimes, the greatest surprises are hiding in plain sight. The story of the 1961 penny is ultimately a story of transformation, of a simple copper coin elevated to a status far beyond its humble origins. It's about history, mistakes at the mint, the survival of pristine examples, and the excitement of discovery. And it's a story that continues to inspire collectors, reminding them that even in the most common of places, treasures worth tens of thousands of dollars can still be found. The 1979 1-cent penny may look like an ordinary coin that countless people spent without a second thought, but to collectors and treasure hunters, it holds a story that is anything but ordinary. At first glance, it seems like just another copper-plated coin with the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, a coin you might have used at a vending machine or found at the bottom of a drawer. Yet hidden among the millions of pennies minted in 1979 are rare variations and near-perfect examples that have stunned the numismatic world. sometimes reaching staggering values from $54,000 all the way up to $122,300. This extraordinary potential makes the 1979 penny not just a piece of currency, but a symbol of how hidden treasures can lurk right in plain sight. The story of the 1979 penny begins with its design. On the obverse, you find the enduring portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner and first issued in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. By 1979, this design had already been in circulation for 70 years, becoming one of the most iconic and recognizable images in American coinage. The reverse still carried the famous Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny engraving of the statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial, an incredible detail for such a small coin. This combination of artistry and history gives the 1979 penny both aesthetic and cultural weight, but it is its rarity and condition that transform it into a coin worth life-changing sums. In 1979, pennies were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint produced coins without a mint mark, the Denver Mint added its D mark, and the San Francisco Mint struck coins with an S. While millions of these pennies were produced, differences in quality and errors created a range of rarities. Proof coins from San Francisco, intended for collectors, were struck with special care. But even among these, anomalies occurred, making some far more valuable than others. Error coins from 1979 are some of the most exciting to find. Collectors search for double dies, where parts of the design such as the date, lettering, or even Lincoln's features appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. These doubled die pennies can be striking to look at and can dramatically increase a coin's value. There are also off-center strikes, where the image appears shifted and part of the coin's surface is left blank. Such errors are instantly noticeable and highly collectible. Other rare errors include clipped planchets, where a curved section is missing from the edge of the coin, and die cracks, where raised lines of metal appear due to a damaged die. Each of these errors tells a story of a moment when the minting process went awry, leaving behind a one-of-a-kind coin. But errors aren't the only pathway to high value. Condition is perhaps the most critical factor in determining whether a 1979 penny is worth a single cent or a small fortune. Most pennies from this era entered circulation and were quickly worn down by daily use. Scratches, dings, and discoloration are common. That's why finding a 1979 penny in pristine, uncirculated condition is so rare. Coins graded MS-67 or higher, meaning nearly perfect with sharp details and dazzling luster, are among the most sought after. Collectors are willing to pay enormous sums for such coins, and auction results prove it, with some of these specimens selling in the range of $54,000 to $122,300. To give you a sense of how thrilling this can be, imagine someone discovering a 1979 penny tucked away in an old coin jar or hidden in a family collection, sending it off for professional grading, and finding out it is one of the finest known examples. Suddenly, what was once thought to be worth only a penny becomes the centerpiece of a major auction, with bidding wars pushing the price higher and higher until it reaches 6 figures. That's the magic of coin collecting, the transformation of the ordinary into the extraordinary. Collectors also value the 1979 penny because it sits in an interesting place in American coinage history. By the early 1980s, the composition of the penny would change from 95% copper to a primarily zinc core with only a thin copper plating. This makes the 1979 penny part of the final years of the traditional copper pennies, giving it extra appeal. Its weight and metallic composition carry with them a sense of nostalgia and authenticity that later pennies simply don't have. Auction records from recent years reveal how highly prized the best examples are. In one case, a 1979 penny with flawless preservation crossed the auction block and stunned onlookers as it soared past expectations, climbing into the $100,000 range. For a coin that most people would have ignored, this kind of outcome captures attention worldwide. Collectors understand that such opportunities are rare, and they are willing to compete fiercely to own a coin that stands out as one of the finest survivors of its kind. The fascination with the 1979 penny isn't limited to seasoned collectors. Everyday people have started to check their change more carefully, inspired by stories of coins worth tens of thousands of dollars. The idea that a simple penny could hold a value between $54,000 and $122,300 is enough to spark curiosity and excitement. It also underscores the importance of knowledge, understanding what to look for, knowing how to spot errors, and appreciating the role of condition and grading. Professional grading plays a vital role in the journey from pocket change to prized collectible. Organizations like PCGS and NGC authenticate coins and assign grades that help establish their market value. A 1979 penny in ordinary circulated condition might only ever be worth face value, but when it is graded as a top specimen, it becomes part of a select group that collectors chase passionately. Having certification provides assurance to buyers and allows these coins to achieve record-breaking prices. What makes the story of the 1979 penny so captivating is how it embodies the thrill of hidden treasure. Unlike gold bars locked away in vaults or rare artifacts displayed in museums, coins like this are still out there, circulating quietly or tucked away in forgotten places. It means that the next person to stumble across one could be anyone. A collector, a child looking through their piggy bank, or someone who decides to check the change in their pocket more carefully. The legacy of the 1979 penny is also tied to its symbolism. Abraham Lincoln's face on the coin serves as a reminder of enduring values, resilience, and the importance of history. The Lincoln Memorial on the reverse connects the coin to the story of a nation's struggle for unity and justice. When combined with its rarity and high value, the 1979 penny becomes more than currency. It becomes a collectible artifact carrying both monetary and symbolic worth. The world of coin collecting is filled with moments of surprise, and the 1979 penny is one of those coins that proves the point beautifully. It teaches collectors and enthusiasts to never dismiss the small details, because those details can be worth a fortune. Whether it's a double die error, an off-center strike, or a nearly flawless specimen preserved for decades, the possibilities are thrilling. The next time you encounter a 1979 penny, take a closer look. That simple copper coin could carry the potential to transform your life. The 1979 1-cent penny remains a powerful reminder that value is often hidden where we least expect it. Its range of $54,000 to $122,300 for rare examples and pristine conditions continues to capture imaginations and fuel the passion of collectors everywhere. In a world where most coins are overlooked, the 1979 penny stands as a testament to the idea that extraordinary discoveries are always possible, waiting patiently for someone to recognize them. And who knows, the next great discovery could be in your pocket right now. The 2001 1-cent penny may look like just another common coin that most people pass along in everyday transactions without even glancing at it. But within the world of collectors, this small piece of copper-plated zinc can be worth far more than its face value. For the average person, a penny often holds little meaning beyond the smallest unit of U.S. currency. But for those who understand the details of numismatics, the 2001 penny can carry a story of rarity, striking errors, and conditions so perfect that its value rises into a staggering range of $40,000 to $105,500. The idea that something as small and ordinary as a penny could carry that much weight in the collector's market is what makes coins like this so fascinating. To understand why the 2001 penny has become a subject of interest, it helps to step back into the context of its creation. The Lincoln cent had already been in production for over 90 years when this coin was minted. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the coin was designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB appear on some versions of the cent. Over time, the Lincoln cent became one of the most iconic coins in American history. By 2001, the design featuring Lincoln's profile on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse was deeply familiar to everyone. But as is so often the case with coins, familiarity does not eliminate the chance of error, and that is where the true value lies. The 2001 penny was minted in massive numbers at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. Billions were produced, which makes most of them incredibly common. If you were to pick up a handful of change today, there's a good chance one of those pennies could still be a 2001 issue. The vast majority of them will never be worth more than a cent. But a tiny fraction of them, those struck with minting errors or those preserved in extraordinary condition, are the ones that ignite the imagination of collectors and sell for eye-popping amounts at auctions. Errors are the heart of this story. They transform an otherwise ordinary coin into something unique. Among the most notable are double die errors, which occur when the coin is struck with a die that itself carries a doubled impression. On a 2001 penny, doubling might appear in the date, the inscriptions like "In God We Trust," or even on Lincoln's profile. These errors are highly collectible because they are instantly visible and create a sense of rarity that can't be duplicated. Another error that can occur is an off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is not aligned correctly with the die, resulting in a design that is partially missing or shifted to one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes, especially if the date remains visible. A 2001 penny with such a striking flaw can draw collectors into bidding wars, driving its value far beyond what most would ever imagine. Broad strikes also make occasional appearances in this series. These are coins that were struck without the proper restraining collar, causing the metal to spread outward. The result is a penny that looks wider and thinner than normal, instantly recognizable as an error piece. Then there are clipped planchets, where part of the coin blank is missing due to overlapping punches during production. When this happens, the penny ends up with a curved section missing, creating a highly unusual and collectible coin. Perhaps the most dramatic and valuable errors are wrong planchet strikes. This occurs when a coin is struck on a blank intended for another denomination. Imagine a penny struck on a dime planchet, for example. It would be smaller and lighter than normal, and the design would appear compressed. These types of errors are exceptionally rare and command enormous sums on the collector's market, sometimes enough to push the value toward the upper end of the $40,000 to $105,500 range. Condition is another critical factor that separates common coins from extraordinary ones. With billions of 2001 pennies in circulation, most show heavy wear from years of use. But coins that were never spent, carefully preserved from the day they were minted, can achieve high grades from professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. Coins graded MS67 or higher are extremely scarce for this year, and their rarity in such pristine condition drives their value. Pair that with an error, and you're looking at the kinds of coins that cross the auction block for tens of thousands of dollars. It's important to note that while errors capture headlines, even ordinary 2001 pennies can be desirable if they are flawless. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint also hold collector interest. Proofs are specially struck coins made for collectors, with polished dies and planchets that create a mirror-like surface and sharp details. A 2001 proof penny in perfect deep cameo condition can bring premium prices, though not as extreme as error coins. Still, when combined with their rarity and top grade, proofs add another layer of excitement to this year's issue. The fact that such coins are out there, waiting to be discovered, creates a sense of anticipation for anyone who looks closely at their change. Stories of people finding rare pennies in circulation are not uncommon. It only takes one coin to completely shift someone's perspective on what they're carrying around in their pocket. The idea that the right 2001 penny could sell for anywhere between $40,000 and $105,500 is enough to make even the most casual observer pause before tossing coins into a jar. For collectors, this chase is part of the thrill. Every coin examined is another chance at uncovering something special. The hunt requires patience and knowledge, but it rewards those who take the time to learn the details. Knowing what to look for, whether it's doubling on the date, an off-center strike, or the unusual weight of a wrong planchet, can mean the difference between dismissing a penny as worthless or realizing it's a once-in-a-lifetime find. The 2001 penny also represents an interesting era in U.S. coinage. It came at a time when the Lincoln Memorial reverse design was nearing the end of its run. By 2009, the Mint would introduce 4 new designs celebrating Lincoln's bicentennial, followed by the Shield reverse in 2010. This places the 2001 penny in the final decade of a design that had been in use since 1959. Transitional periods like this often gain added significance for collectors, who value coins minted just before a major change. Another reason coins like this fascinate people is the blend of accessibility and rarity. On one hand, billions of 2001 pennies exist, making them easy to find. On the other hand, the rare errors and high-grade survivors are almost impossibly scarce. This contrast is what makes collecting so compelling. You never know which coin in your hand could be extraordinary. Professional grading and authentication are essential when dealing with coins of such potential value. With high stakes, collectors need assurance that what they're buying or selling is genuine. Encapsulation in a protective holder with an official grade not only confirms authenticity but also preserves the coin for the future. Buyers are willing to pay premiums for graded coins, which is why it's often worth sending a 2001 penny with unusual features or pristine condition to a grading service. The 2001 Lincoln cent shows how much depth can exist in something so small. What most people treat as negligible change actually holds the potential for a life-changing discovery. It is a reminder that rarity, condition, and error can transform even the humblest coin into a prized possession. The stories of pennies from this year selling for between $40,000 and $105,500 at auction are not just about money. They're about history, art, and the thrill of discovery. So the next time you pick up a penny, especially one from 2001, don't overlook it. Study it carefully. Check for doubling, inspect the edges, and see if anything seems unusual. That one small coin could be a piece of American history worth more than you ever expected. It could carry the journey from a minting mistake or an untouched preservation all the way to a collector's showcase, fetching a value that dwarfs its humble beginnings. In the end, the 2001 penny serves as a perfect reminder of why coin collecting continues to capture people's imagination. It's about more than money. It's about the stories, the rarity, and the chance that something so ordinary could hold something extraordinary within it. And who knows? The penny you hold in your hand right now could be the one that turns out to be worth as much as $105,500.